Hey guys, Thrinzyrus here, my very first gaming video. Woohoo! Alright, let's get into it. This video is going to be making this video to kind of go over what makes a good Galactic War team as the primary purpose, and the secondary purpose is to kind of just show you, now that we've got Emperor Palpatine in the bi-monthly rotation, to just show you why you want to go ahead and make sure that you get him, even at 5 stars. Definitely worth grinding out a month or two's worth of on a Rebel team, even if you don't use Rebels, just to pick up that tune. As opposed to Yoda, where, you know, whenever you get Yoda, it's fine. He's just much more of a niche character. Palpatine is much more useful, and I'll go ahead and show you we'll do a real quick overview and try to get into the Galactic War portion. But even at 5-star, he is very effective for 2 reasons. One is for his leader ability as you're building an Empire team, which you're gonna want, especially since the Rebel meta has been around for a while with the Wedge and Biggs combo, and they are putting out even more Rebels. Definitely going to want to have Palpatine to be able to use his leader skill. This gives Empire and Sith allies 32%, and this is at the maximum for the leader ability, 32% potency and max health, and also takes away potency evasion from Jedi and Rebel enemies. Whenever an Empire ally inflicts a debuff, they gain 20% turn meter, and whenever a Sith ally inflicts a debuff, they recover 20% of their max health. So whenever Palpatine or any other Empire allies go ahead and inflict a debuff, it's going to enable them to heal, which is going to allow you to run a team without a healer pretty effectively, and as long as you've got a couple Empire folks. And then some of his other special abilities do as well, like Crackling Doom does do damage to Rebel enemies as well, so he's really good against the Rebel meta. And the other thing that is very useful for him is the AoE, Area of Effect, special ability, Power of the Dark Side, which is a 70% chance to stun everybody on the other team for 1 turn. And this is really helpful. And actually, there's another thing that's really helpful, the Lightning Strike. Shock is pretty much prevents any opposing player from getting a buff. So this is really effective on your taunter characters, if you can get that off and you prevent them from taunting. And the AI on the other side will still try to taunt, so it's effectively like picking up a whole extra turn. One thing that you want to do that I see people, if you do have Emperor Palpatine, the best thing to do for him is to really buff up his speed, mod up his speed. So if you see, I've got his speed at 180, I've got it modded out, and I do check speed whenever I attack any opposing tunes, any opposing squads. I check all their speed to make sure that I go first, and gives me a chance to get off that AoE attack and stun the other team. So we're going to get into Galactic War, and I've gone through half of it already. I run Galactic War with 1 team. It is also my squad arena team. Most people cannot do that and usually have a different team for Galactic War, and the team I've got together kind of takes advantage of what I think are all the things you want to look for in a Galactic team. So it just happens to be the same team that I run. And let's go get into it. I'll kind of explain as we get the battles off here. So this is my team. This is my squad arena team. It's also what I use for Galactic Wars. You can tell everybody has full health, full protection, except for Palpatine. He took a couple hits, so he's losing a little bit of protection there. But again, I've done half of the Galactic War so far, not taking many hits, and just use this team. So what makes a good Galactic War team? Number 1 is synergy. It's the synergy of leader and unique abilities. So by that I really mean, you know, the leader abilities, as we went over before. Palpatine's leader abilities affect 4 people on this squad. Let's see, let me try to talk and think at the same time here. I may mess up just because I'm trying to do this here. Alright, so yeah, the synergy of the different abilities So his leader ability affects 4 people on the team, which really helps potency, helps Vader land more damage over time, helps TIE Fighter to land his attacks like that one. Oh, we got a lot of counters on this team, huh? And get rid of one of those counters. All right. Helps TIE Fighter pilot to land his stuff. Helps Vader land his stuff. And again, that potency also is kind of like a double bonus, because whenever they do land their debuffs on the opposing team, it's going to either heal them if they are a Sith character, which Palpatine and Vader are, or it's going to help increase their turn meter, which all 4 of them are Empire. So all 4 of them, whenever they land a debuff, will go ahead and get some turn meter out of it. So synergy is the number 1. It doesn't have to be leader abilities. Obviously, you've got the Biggs and Wedge combo, which takes advantage of synergy between, a team of 2 players, 2 toons. And they just released the Krennic and Death Trooper, and those 2 have a great synergy. Also got like Finn and Poe, and I'm not sure of it. Oh, you also got Baze and Chirrut. You got a few different characters that have good synergy between them. So having a team that has synergy is great. I do recommend having 1 or 2 slots that don't necessarily fit the bill for the synergy of the team. As you can see, Rey is definitely not an Empire character, and also not a... Who did I get rid of here? I don't know. Is not an Empire or Sith character. And the reason why I suggest having 1 or 2, and I may replace Royal Guard with somebody that doesn't fit the bill either. But the reason why I say, it's important to have 1 or 2 is because your arena squad, and this is in terms of the arena squad, not necessarily your Galactic War squad, what I'm talking about, but you are, the meta is constantly changing, and the meta is going to be constantly changing, and in order to keep up with it, you can't just run 1 squad. You've got to kind of have your hand in a couple different teams, and having 1 or 2 players that aren't part of your synergy allows you to do that. So having Rey on my team allows me to build up a player that's part of a resistance team if I want to be able to move in that direction, which I kind of do. I think there's maybe some value in building up in a resistance team in the future. So that just allows you to do that. But moving on from synergy, the number 2 thing that you want to have in a good, successful Galactic War team is effective abilities. Effective abilities, and this is a really broad topic. I can't really speak to. Yeah, that's okay. I can't really speak to a whole lot of different options, but you can kind of do your research on your own. But in terms of effective abilities, for me, what I define that as is having at least 2 characters that have AoE debuff attacks. And with that I mean, like here, I've got actually 3. So I've got TIE Fighter Pilot has got his AoE ability there, which, wow, didn't actually land on anyone. But it basically prevents any debuffs from any buffs from being thrown on the opposing player. They got a lot of potency, man. They're holding up. I wonder if my stun's gonna get anybody. Oh, we got a couple guys. That's good. All right, we got Dacha. All right. So, and then we also got Palpatine with his AoE stun attack, and then I've also got Vader, who's got his damage over time, and what is it? His damage over time, which also with the Omega ability on that has got enables slow, like hits slow on the opposing team. So what that does is what I really like is AoE attacks that kind of shut down the other team. A lot of people are using Boba Fett for that. And so Boba Fett, you make sure that tune that has an AoE attack that's going to shut down the other team, you want to make sure that his speed is up so he's one of the first players to go, if not the first. And let's see. And so in Boba Fett's example, he's got his AoE ability, which does ability block. So if he goes first on a battle, he's going to shut down the other team's ability, or several players on the tune's ability on the other team to use any of their abilities, which is pretty massive. You get a whole turn with, fighting just against basics, primarily basics. Palpatine's obviously is the stun. Obviously, if you're going to stun the other team, you're really going to gain a big advantage. So, effective abilities, number 2 is what you want to look for in a galactic team. Good Galactic War Team. Number 3, I would say, is mods. I'm a big believer in speed. There's several different trains of thought on what you can do for mods. Some of them are really kind of going with the strength of your character. If you've got a really good taunter, like mine's Royal Guard. My Royal Guard's actually really weak. But if you've got a good taunter, then or a tank, you may want to put some extra mods in protection, like increase the percentage of protection will really be a substantial increase if you're working with like a pretty good solid base. Any increase in the percentage of protection is really going to give you, a whole lot more than somebody who doesn't have a good base of protection. I like speed. I think speed is the most important thing in the game. So if you were to look at my mods, when I talk about modding for speed, I don't mean the speed mods, like the speed type mods. I mean mods that have speed as one of the primary or secondary stats. Really love to see that as either a primary stat, which is only in the arrow mod, the one that looks like an arrow pointing to the northeast, I guess is what you'd say. Or one that is a secondary mod that's a rare mod that's going to get leveled up twice. So that's the 2 places I like to kind of see a mod show up with speed. It takes a lot of farming to get that, but if you can get your characters fast, they're going to get off more turns, especially if you've got attacks that affect the rest of the entire team. Like here, if this team had Leia, like most people mod the heck out of her speed, she would already be stealth, and it would be, a challenge. She would be taking off points out of my team pretty much every go around. But that's only if she was modded for speed, and it looks like this team is pretty darn slow. So they should be pretty easy against my fast team. So effective modding, that's number 3 strategy. All right, and the last strategy that actually you won't see as part of my team, but it is probably, it might even be the actual number one thing to look for in a Galactic War team before you get to a team that can run without a healer, is having a healer, specifically a self-healing healer. And by that, I mean, oh man, I knew I should have gone after Leia, because she's just brutal. If you don't take her out, she's just brutal. So, again, you can see from the speed of my team that I could pretty much easily, if I just decide to kind of change to say, oh, I want to attack out that guy, I could change on the whim and take him out within 1 or 2 turns pretty effectively. And I always save Barriss for last because she hits so slow. And I could pretty much, ooh, she's gonna, oh yeah, she did. She did. Stinker. Alright, well. Anyway, having a self-healing healer, what I mean by that is either Ahsoka Tano or Barriss Offee are both good examples of tunes that, through their basics, they're going to do some self-healing, and they are going to survive the whole length of the Galactic War intact without, ending up with too much damage at the end of a battle. but they also have the ability to heal the whole party. So they could do that over time, healing the party while they stay intact and don't really risk getting thrown out. So here's one real quick trick I want to show you if you don't know already, is throwing junk out in Galactic War. Now, I don't think I really need to do this, especially if I go and I check Palpatine. I doubt his Palpatine is modded as fast as mine. No, his speed's 126 and mine's 180. So I really don't have to worry about that. The only other character here that serves any kind of threat is Leia. She's probably going to be faster than me, and she is. She's 188. So as you get to the end of Galactic War, one of the things that facing a hard team that has an AoE shut down my team, and that's a Baba or a Sidious or anything like that, is just go ahead and throw some junk at them to get their abilities off. And by that, go to the bottom of your roster and just pick some guys. And you know, your goal here is not to do any damage, is to just draw out those special abilities and get rid of them, so that your main team, when it comes in, can go ahead and do its damage without having to worry about any special abilities. Another good ones to draw out are taunting players. So if you're facing like a Stormtrooper Han, or I don't even know who I want to attack because it's not going to take anything off. If you're facing like a Stormtrooper Han or Chewbacca or something like that, then those are good tunes to go ahead and throw junk at. That way they taunt once, and then you go back in with your main squad, and they're unable to taunt for another 4 turns or whatever their cooldown is. So we're going to go up through here and put in my other team again. And let's see. It's really important that you make it through your entire Galactic War, because that last battle is going to give you 400 Galactic War credits. It can give you an Omega ability and give you tune shards, give you high level. What do I want to do? Okay, yeah, let's get rid of her. It just has the best bonuses, and you really don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss it. So I don't know who I don't want to trigger the guard, so I want the ability to go and get something to throw on here. So here, even though I have that stun, I don't want to use the stun just yet. I want to shock that guard so that he can't taunt, and now I'm just free to go ahead and kill my characters without worrying about, kill the opposing team without worrying about the Royal Guard going ahead and doing anything. Oh man, I'm like, this is not a good one. But yeah, the last thing, that healer, for the most part, is very helpful in Galactic War. Having a healer that can make it through the whole time. And like I said, Barriss is a good one. Ahsoka is really my preferred. I don't have Barriss, so I prefer Ahsoka just because I've got her. But she also, oh, I guess the thing expired there. No problem. But Ahsoka's got a really good ship, so having her on your Galactic War team gives you another reason to go ahead and upgrade her. So definitely recommend her. If you don't have either one of those tunes, Luminara makes a good choice, because she can always, you know, as you upgrade her heal becomes more and more powerful. And also as she upgrades, she gets a good amount of health back when she attacks and at the beginning of her turn too. So, yeah. That's it. So there you see, those are my tips for Galactic War, and you get a chance to look at some synergies and take a look at how Palpatine goes. And so hopefully that helps you be able to run Galactic War. It's pretty much, with this team, it's a real breeze. And one of the reasons why is that those things I talked about, the synergy, having effective abilities like the AoE stuns, AoE ability blocks, using mods, those three in particular allow you to really take on more powerful opponents. So if I've got like power of my teams like 31,000, I can easily take out, you know, teams that are at 35,000. And so those things, the synergy, the mods, the abilities, those aren't really reflected in your power. So if you do have them on your team, both in the Squad Arena and Galactic War, you'll be able to go a lot further and be able to do a lot more damage. So hope you enjoyed it, and leave a comment if you like it, and maybe I'll do some more of these videos.